The beginner's weaving class starts in a few days and I need a dependable yarn for the final project. But disaster! I just found out the usual yarn is discontinued. What I need is a yarn with good local availability, goes well with 4/8 cotton, and embraces a sense of whimsy. This is Caterpillar yarn by Ashford. Don't let it deceive you. This soft cotton rick-rack yarn is light, strong, and poofs up to nearly twice its size when fulled. Getting the set right is going to be tough. So I'm doing the thing I almost never do, sampling. I like to mix luxury yarns like this with something more affordable, and because loom waste is a thing, that's the thrums that we can't weave at the start and stop of the cloth, I'm using the 4/8 cotton for the warp. I measured 120 warp ends, and for this first sample, I'm putting the set at 10 EPI for a warp that will be 12 inches wide in the reed. After tying the warp yarn onto the apron rod, I do a few picks with waste yarn to help space out the warp. Now for the caterpillar yarn. I begin with 2 picks or passes of the shuttle in plain weave, leaving a tail of this weft yarn about 3 times the width of the cloth. I use this tail to hem stitch. Now to weave twill. Already I'm having trouble getting a balanced beat. That's where the density of the warp yarns and the density of the weft yarns are equal. A trick I use to check is to put a thread in there, count the number of picks, that should make 1 inch of cloth, and then measure it. If it's too small, I need to beat softer. If it's too big, I need to beat harder. And after a while, muscle memory kicks in, and I don't have to check so often. And too soon. We are back to hem stitching, but that sample is done. Now the fun begins. I cut the sample off the loom, pull the yarn out of the reed, and slay it again at a different density. This time, we have both been saved from a horrible fate. What is your best time loop movie? Because showing slight variations of the same thing over and anyway, this is a skill improved by watching movies, so please let me know your favorites. To recap, I warp at 120 ends of 4/8 cotton, weft gorgeous caterpillar yarn by Ashford, 3 samples, all from the same warp, but at different sets. Each sample gets cut off the loom, and then the warp slayed back through the reed. Now it's time for the magic. Hot water, a drop of soap, agitate, dry. The same way I would normally wash a scarf. Wow, this caterpillar yarn is so pretty. The colors in this, the browns, the blues, and cream, I love them. And the color repeat is just random enough to reduce color pooling. Although the twill pattern is hidden, this yarn would go better with a simple weave structure. But how does it feel? At 15 EPI, this would make an ideal bath towel, so soft and yet the cloth has a lot of structure. The caterpillar yarn fluffed up, but not as much as the other samples. I think the tight set didn't do this yarn any favors. At 12 EPI, I wove an extra sample to show the difference between washed and unwashed. It is significant. Perfect for baby blankets. At 10 EPI, we have my favorite for a tutu twill. These blue set samples are woven by Brenda, and whereas I use the 4/8 cotton as the warp, she uses a caterpillar yarn and kept the solid for the weft. I really like how the color stripes are vertical in this blue cloth. And this airy plain weave shawl has caterpillar as both warp and weft, and it's woven at 7.5 EPI. I wear it a lot, and you've seen it in a few of the past videos. But yellow isn't always my cup of tea. So I've got an idea for how this caterpillar yarn behaves, but I want to work with it some more before I recommend it to my students. I am measuring the warp with one caterpillar yarn and one of the solid brown in my hand at the same time. Rattle, beam, heddles, alternating one caterpillar and one brown. And slay the reed. Recently I've read that even if we are cutting the fabric, like for clothing, still hem stitch the start of the cloth as it helps with consistent selvages. I don't know if this works, but I'm trying it for a few projects to see if I like the results. What I don't like is how these colors are interacting. It's not matching my vision. It's nice, but I don't know. Let's play. Okay, I think I have a plan, but first I need to reset the warp. Look how pretty! This is much better. Here is where I ran out of the solid yarn in the warp, but it wasn't quite wide enough. So I put a stripe of pure caterpillar off-center. We'll call that a design choice. It's subtle, but it's kind of cute. Okay, cut, hem, full. I like this cloth. This cloth is pretty. I want to wear it in the rain. Now I have 2 new shawls. I will probably put one for sale in my Etsy shop, but the other, oh, I love it. My frugal heart adores that I could blend the cheaper yarn in this project and not lose the lofty luxury of the caterpillar cotton. It's lightweight for the amount of cloth and warm, but not too warm. A good spring, fall, and occasional summer evening shawl. I learned a lot from the set samples, and I hope you found it useful. Let me know if you want to see more of the more technical side of what I'm doing, or if the story is more your thing. And what I'd love to know is, which is your favorite color? You know mine.